Losing a job can feel like losing a part of yourself. In her poignant essay, Silver Linings Playlist, and Amputee Songs of Healing, the writer Diana Theobald shares a startling truth. The emotional impact of job loss can be as devastating as losing a limb. This might sound extreme, but it resonates deeply with many who have faced this profound upheaval. Why does job loss hit us so hard? It's not just about the paycheck, it's about losing a piece of ourselves. Our jobs define us, providing purpose, routine, a sense of belonging, and when that's suddenly taken away, the grief can be immense and sadly often unrecognized by others. So Diana's story sheds light on this hidden pain, challenging us to acknowledge and honor our feelings, and she offers up a grief tool, creating a playlist. Creating a playlist that speaks directly to your loss, with each song reflecting a part of your journey, can offer profound healing. Music's unique power to provide solace and connection often surpasses words. Embracing this creative outlet can guide you through your grief in a deeply personal and transformative manner. So in today's podcast, I explore how you can process your own job loss or any significant life change through creating your own healing playlist and find validation in your unique grief journey. Hey everyone, I'm Laverne McKinnon, and welcome to the Moonshot Mentor blogcast, where I provide tools and insights to support your career growth, including grief work. Unprocessed grief leads to a loss of resiliency. Resiliency is a critical element to long-term career success. Long-term career success leads to financial stability and fulfillment. So that's why I'm both a coach and a certified grief recovery specialist. So let's start out in today's podcast with a quote from Diana Theobald's essay. Losing your job is worse than losing your leg. Now, when I first read those words, I was shocked. Not so much because the sentiment seemed extreme, but because it felt like Diana was looking into the deep, dark crevices of my soul and was calling me out. Now, I haven't lost a leg or a limb, but I do understand how losing the identity she got from her job was more integral to her well-being than losing her leg. I describe my firing as a development executive as the most traumatic event of my life, over the death of my mother, the death of my father, my first divorce, and being separated twice in my current marriage. So I really appreciate how Diana writes. It sounds ridiculous, but I stand by it. Her writing is courageous and bold, and it's her truth. Often, when we're navigating a loss, we tend to downplay it if it doesn't fall into an acceptable loss category, like the death of a loved one. We might even negate any sad feelings because we don't know what to do with those feelings, and we're worried about being criticized. Now, one person said to me after my job loss, "Well, you had a good run, and I'm sure you've saved some money, so what's next?" Another person said, "In the scheme of things, it's really not that bad." Another person said, "You really should feel grateful that you got as far as you did. Not many people do." The comments made me feel as though my sadness was not legitimate. As a result, I thought there was something wrong with me because I couldn't bounce back from the loss. It turns out I wasn't broken, I was grieving my job. So many of my clients are also unable to grieve their losses because they believe they don't have the right to mourn. They feel that their losses are small in comparison to others. For example, a professional setback like a work product not being well received is something we need to get over since no one died. God, how I wish we could just get over grief. The truth is, grief is not something to get over or get right. To understand why is to realize that while grief is universal, grieving is unique to each of us, and that there are a myriad of grief events. Grief is not the result of one type of loss, death. Grief can result from any kind of loss because it's a direct result of attachment to a person, place, or thing. The deeper the attachment, the deeper the feelings of loss. So what to do if you don't feel comfortable talking about your grief with others because your loss may not be socially validated? You can look to other ways to mourn, like writing in a journal, expressing yourself through art, or making a playlist. This is what Diana wrote about in her essay, How Music Says More Than Words, and how creating a playlist helped her mourn. Each of the songs in her playlist reflected an aspect of her experience. She writes about The Light Before We Land by the Delgados and how The strings and soaring harmonies sound like what Dilaudid's felt like. They're interrupted by grungy, ear-stinging guitar riffs, which sound like what my phantom limb pain felt like. Rather than making her feel worse, the songs made her feel seen, which was comforting. There's nothing like being seen to support someone in their grief work. In reading through Diana's grief playlist and her narration of what each song meant to her, I was reminded how much playlists have supported me in my life. Here's a sampling of my playlist titles: car songs, date night, boot camp cardio, creative frustration, good times, inspiration, road trip, and of course, I have a playlist called When Sad. Creating a playlist and adding to it as songs capture your head or your heart is an empowering tool to help you mourn. It allows you to be with your feelings and to have your feelings validated. You're not alone in whatever your experience might be. Now, songs I would listen to during my very dark periods post-firing. The first is Dream a Little Dream of Me by the Mamas and Papas. At one point, I felt like I was a star in my corporate rise, and I thought I was loved by my CBS family. The songs started to really capture, that particular song really captured the sense of longing I had to return to the old days. Okay, another song is Hide and Seek by Imogen Heap. There's a lyric, "What the hell is going on?" And that perfectly captured the confusion and chaos in my heart and my soul. The music also captured my feelings of hopelessness and helplessness. And there's one other lyric that really got me, "You don't care a bit." So I want to just put a little spotlight on a question that might be popping up. Why not just talk about loss? Here's the thing. In Western society, we tend to over-index on talking as a way to share our feelings. Sometimes we even judge others who we feel like are not fully expressing themselves verbally. And then we also judge people who overexpress verbally. I guess we're just a judgy society, and now I'm judging the judgers. With an emphasis on verbalizing one's experiences and feelings, we actually shortchange those who express themselves in other ways, like through movement, writing, listening, sensing, etc. Now, even if you're able to verbalize feelings, try creating a playlist to reflect an experience or a mood. This overall sensory experience is completely different from a verbal connection. It actually has a transcendent quality to it. Now, most people are understandably, they want to avoid feeling pain. So the idea of listening to a bunch of sad songs may feel like throwing salt into an open wound. Diana actually tried making happy playlists that would snap her out of sadness and back to normal. Now, she acknowledges that she was looking for a shortcut through grief, but there is no shortcut. The playlist's purpose is to be a mirror to reflect your feelings and to accompany you on your grief journey. During my first divorce, I listened to Toni Braxton's Breathe Again, I think about 15 million times. Now, I can't listen to it today, but at the same time, that song was the only thing that would bring me solace. Diana provides a great metaphor for when she tried to use a happy playlist to shortcut the grief work. It's like trying to cut through, and this is a quote, trying to cut through cardboard with a preschooler's safety scissors. Unfortunately, like I said, there are no shortcuts. There are also no rules to sequentially work through in order to no longer feel sad, depressed, angry, confused, lost, or stuck. What we do know about grief is that mourning is unique to each individual, and it can be supported through rituals that allow one to connect with their feelings, identify the meaning they've created from the loss, rewrite the meaning if necessary in order to regain your sense of agency in your life and come back to a place of wholeness. Okay, bottom line, acknowledging our losses, no matter how unconventional they might seem, is crucial to healing. Diana's essay and her bold proclamation remind us that grief is deeply personal and multifaceted. Losing a job can strip away your sense of self, and it's valid to mourn that loss. Creating a playlist, as Diana did, can be a powerful way to process those feelings. And music has a unique ability to capture our experience and emotions in ways words often can't. So whether it's a song that mirrors your sadness, or maybe one that brings a sense of hope to you, let your playlist be a companion on your journey. Embrace your grief, honor it, and permit yourself to feel. You're not alone in your feelings, and they are valid. On a final note, I highly recommend you read Diana's essay because it beautifully articulates that there's more than one way to grieve and more than one reason to grieve. So that's it for today. Head over to Moonshot Mentor on Substack.com for journal questions to help you explore your personal experiences with loss and healing. I'd love to hear more about your playlist too, so drop me a comment or share a link. I'd love to take a listen. You can also visit me at moonshotmentor.com where you can find links to all of my social and how to work with me. A very big thank you to Lynn Chen for the video and audio editing. You can find her on social at Ms. Lynn Chen. If you enjoy what you hear, I would so appreciate if you could subscribe to my blogcast. It would really help me achieve my moonshot of 5,000 subscribers. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I look forward to being back with you next week.